So I just got to the theater and I am about to go in. I am pretty early, but I'm just gonna relax in the lobby, drink my coffee. I have a honey cardamom latte from one of my favorite cafes, Balzac's. So good. Oh my goodness, I'm obsessed. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm a little, I don't know, nervous, I guess, because I'm gonna be alone. No one in my family likes Shakespeare. No one in my family enjoys plays, really. And so I decided to just go alone, kind of treat myself to a solo outing, which is totally fine. But yeah, I think it'll be great. I'm really excited. I have very mixed feelings about the play itself, having just finished it last night. But I'm going to talk about the play, the reading experience with reading the play and listening to it, and then kind of the experience of seeing it on stage. And I'm really excited. I don't think I'm going to get much B-roll just because there are people. It's a public place and I get a little nervous filming in public, but I am just very excited to see this play. I haven't seen a Shakespeare play since high school, so it's been quite a while, but I'm very excited. Alrighty, so it is the next day. I didn't get a chance to film when I got home after the play yesterday, but I just had such a wonderful time, and I will talk about the play and the performance shortly. I did just want to share a couple books that I got from the bookstore, which you would have seen, and the smaller city town, I guess, that the theater is in is called Stratford. It is a bit of a drive from where I live, but it is very much inspired by Stratford, England, and like the street names are inspired by England and very much paying homage to Shakespeare. And it's a very cute town. The history is really interesting, but I just go every now and again. I enjoy walking around, and I really love the bookshop that I went to. I go as often as I can, and it is a smaller independent bookstore. I didn't go to the bookshop with the intention of buying anything. I just wanted to browse a little bit after the play, but I saw this edition of the Divine Comedy and I really wanted to grab it. This is actually the translation that I've been hoping to read. I did some research on the different translators for the Divine Comedy, and the John, I don't know if it's Ciardi or Ciardi, but this translator here, he is the one that I feel would be a good place for me to start with the Divine Comedy, and it's the complete collection here. So the Inferno, the Purgatorio, and the Paradiso. And as soon as I'm done the Iliad, which I still have to make some progress in, make a good dent in it. But as soon as I'm done with that, this is the next big project that I want to tackle. I know that I've said that about other books as well, but the Iliad and the Divine Comedy are really near the top of my, I guess, bigger, older texts list. And like I said, this is the translator I want to go with. So this one, I have never seen it in any of the bookstores in my area on any shelves, and I would have had to order it online, but it was actually a little cheaper to just get it from this bookstore, and I was very, very happy to find it. It has an introduction, and then it looks like at the beginning of each canto, it has maybe a summary of the canto or kind of what to expect, and then it does have the text on both sides in a really, really good font size as well, and this will be really good to highlight in and write notes, and I just think this is a really great addition. So we'll see what I think of the translation. Not that I really have anything to compare it to, but I'm very, very excited about this, and I'm hopeful at least to start it in 2025. That is the goal, at least to start it. And I also ended up getting something that has to do with Shakespeare, or something by Shakespeare actually, but I decided not to go with a play. I have so many of his plays that I still have to read. I am very behind on my goal of reading Shakespeare. I wanted to read 10 of his plays this year, and that's probably not going to happen, but I decided to pick up the sonnets and narrative poems in this beautiful Everyman's Library edition. I love these classic editions. I don't own a single one. Just because they are hardcover, they tend to be a little on the pricier side, but I just think they are so beautiful, and I've heard wonderful things about the introduction and the explanatory notes and just everything about this edition. So I am really intrigued. I've never read any of Shakespeare's sonnets. There's just a little bookmark to this bookstore. As I was saying, I've never read any of his sonnets or narrative poems, so I am very, very intrigued by this. This is the book without the dust jacket. It is such a beautiful shade of blue, and it does have a ribbon bookmark as well. So very, very excited about this. If anyone is interested, there's just the table of contents, what they included in this edition. But yeah, I am very, very excited for this, and I'm definitely curious to see what I think of Shakespeare's poems rather than his plays. So very, very intrigued and excited for both of these. So excited. Now, as for The Winter's Tale, which is the play that I got to see, I ended up giving the actual play about a 3-star rating, I would say. I read it over the course of, I think, 2 or 3 days right before going to see the performance. And when I initially finished it, I was a little underwhelmed. I didn't love it. I found the storyline to be very odd, very convoluted, and I just didn't really understand kind of what the point was. And what's really helping me kind of, I guess, gain a better perspective and a new appreciation for the play, besides having seen it on stage, which was just such a wonderful experience, and I will chat a bit about that as well. But I am currently listening to the Literary Life podcast episodes on this play. I missed so much. So much goes over my head when I read Shakespeare, and just so many books and classics in general. And I love that podcast so much. If you've never heard of them, website is linked below. I think they are fantastic, and they are really diving deep. I'm currently on the episode for Act 3. Wow, the things that I missed and the depth that I didn't realize was there. And that's the thing. Oftentimes on a first read, I really do miss what the author, the playwright, etc. is trying to say. And I think that's normal, and that's why I think rereading is really, really helpful and sometimes necessary to really get that deeper perspective. But I still don't like the story more than I did when I finished the play. I still think it's weird, and I don't know. It's a weird play. It's not my type of storyline. It's very, very odd, but I am really coming to appreciate it a lot more as I'm listening to the episodes, and I just loved seeing it performed. But what is this play about? The Winter's Tale. It is called The Winter's Tale as the young son of one of the kings in the story, Mamilius, what he says is that a sad tale's best for winter. And the story really starts off as a sad tale. It is kind of crazy and a little bit psychological. And we have this Sicilian king, Leontes, who becomes paranoid and absolutely loses his mind because he believes his wife is having an affair with his friend, who is the king of Bohemia, Polixenes, the king of Bohemia. And he just loses his mind. He becomes extremely, extremely tyrannical, and the story just kind of goes off the rails. A lot goes off the rails. And then the story jumps forward 16 years with descendants of both Leontes and Polixenes, and it's a little wild, and it becomes a lot more comedic. And it was just weird. It was weird. I don't know. As I finished each act, I was kind of like, okay, that was interesting. I don't know what to make of what just happened. And Act 4 in particular was very, very long. It took up a really good chunk of the play, and I don't know, everything about this play was just weird, very weird. It's considered one of Shakespeare's later romances, and it doesn't really perfectly fall into either one of his comedies or one of his tragedies, so I kind of see it more as both. But I think it is technically classified with his comedies, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. But it was published towards the end of his career, and it just kind of defies categorization. It's really odd. We should keep a tally of how many times I've said weird or odd in this video already, but I don't know what other word to use. I did find it interesting how it starts off kind of as that, sad winter's tale type of story. And then in the latter half of the play, it becomes much more lively and fairy tale like. And I mean, the first part was very fairy tale like as well, but in a different way. But the second half feels very, springtime and floral, and lots of descriptions of flowers. There's a sheep shearing feast that happens in Act 4, and there are just flowers galore and dancing and feasting. And it is a very, very kind of midsummer vibe. I don't know how to describe it. It's just the way that it was done on stage. Wow, the costumes and the set design, it was just magical, absolutely magical. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the play. And I would say my favorite character is probably Paulina. She's one of the Sicilian noblewomen whose husband is a courtier to Leontes, and she was the only person who stood up to Leontes with such intensity and courage, and she was pretty awesome. The actress who portrayed her as well did a fantastic job. All of the actors did a fantastic job. But besides the written play, the actual performance was 5 out of 5 stars. So I would probably give just the play itself like 3 stars, just based on my personal subjective experience reading it. But the actual performance, 5 out of 5 stars. It was so good. And another thing, a lot of the comedic elements went over my head. I didn't see the humor, especially with a character named Autolycus. Really, really funny, but not nearly as funny on page, just reading it, as the actor who portrayed him was on stage. Just fantastic. And the stage production was a word for word, production of this play. It was not abridged, it was not changed. I feel with Shakespeare, you do get something out of just reading a play with your eyes, and maybe even listening while reading, which is definitely what I try to do, and I did with this one as well. I listened to an audio recording of a performance while following along in the book, but it is a completely different experience seeing it on stage. And I do think that they're meant to be watched for sure, but it's also important to read them, to read the play. It's just really interesting comparing the two experiences, just having read this first and then watching it. And like I mentioned, the town that the play was performed in, it is Stratford, which is the city in England that Shakespeare lived in. So Stratford, England, but we are in Stratford, Ontario. And the Stratford Festival is where the play was performed. And the last time I went was in high school. So it was so nice going again so many years later. And I need to make an effort to go more and watch Shakespeare plays. They put on a few Shakespeare plays per year, and it's just, I need to make a bigger effort. But yeah, it was just such a wonderful performance. The costumes were fantastic. They definitely gave off the atmosphere of ancient Rome, which was really fun. It feels like ancient Rome, or like an ancient, European kind of setting. and the characters, they pray to the god Apollo in this play, and it's just really interesting. And the costumes were fantastic. Everything about the stage setup was fantastic. Oh my goodness. Everything was just amazing. I wish I could see a live performance of every single Shakespeare play that I read. The last Shakespeare play I read was The Merchant of Venice, and that one I think would be just fantastic to watch a live production of. But anyways, those were just some of my thoughts. I wanted to share what my experience was like reading The Winter's Tale and then getting to see it on stage. It was a very, very fun experience, and even though the play itself will probably be one of my less favorite of Shakespeare's plays, one of my least favorite, I still enjoyed it and I still got something out of it. And the fact that the Literary Life podcast did cover it and they have several episodes on it, it just makes the experience even better and makes me feel like there is so much more that I missed. And I know that if I reread it in the future, I will get even more out of it and will kind of be able to look at it with a different lens and maybe, look at it a little deeper than I was with a surface level read the first time. But anyways, that was a bit of a longer ramble. But friends, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have read this play, I would love to hear your thoughts below. And if you have also seen a production of the play, please do let me know. Please let me know what Shakespeare play you think I should read next. Actually, I think the next one I'm gonna read is A Midsummer Night's Dream, just because it's June and I feel like June is the perfect time to read it. But after that one, let me know what you think I should read next. What is the most recent Shakespeare play you have read and would recommend? Please do let me know, friends. But that is it for this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.